On the off chance that you're watching this, Mr. Card, thank you. Again. Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I have a book review for you. If you saw the thumbnail or paid any attention to the title, the book that I'm going to be reviewing for you today is A Town Divided by Christmas by Orson Scott Card. I want to tell you a little bit about how I came across this book and the day that I had when I got it. So before we get into that, make sure that you subscribe to my channel down below for more literary content and beauty videos. Give us a big thumbs up. Just keep watching. So a couple weeks ago, Orson Scott Card, who you probably know as the author of Ender's Game, this book, which most people read when they are in high school. It is common in high school English curriculum. Orson Scott Card is one of my very favorite authors. I have the entire Ender's Game series and a few of his other books. A couple weekends ago, he was doing a signing at a Barnes & Noble in Orem, Utah, which is about maybe an hour and 15-minute drive away from where I live. And I really, really wanted to go. And then I found out that you had to have wristbands for the signing, and then I wasn't sure if I was going to go. And I got off work that day, and I wasn't sure I was going to go, and I told Devin that we weren't going to go, because, you know, maybe we wouldn't even get any wristbands, or, you know, I was tired, or whatever. And then almost 2 seconds later, I was like, okay, we're going. So I came home, and I got ready to go, and we drove down to Orem, to the Barnes & Noble down there. I think we were 89 and 90 for our wristband numbers. But we got there pretty early before the event started. Barnes & Noble started giving out those wristbands when they opened, and we weren't able to get wristbands until when we got there, which was maybe an hour and a half before the event started. So we had very much later numbers, but not the latest. There were probably 30-40 people after us as well. But we did get really good seats. Devin and I kind of camped out. We were in the very second row. We were in the second row of folding chairs, and then we took turns holding our place while the other one went and wandered around the store and looked at whatever, books, journals, toys, whatever that there was to see there. And so Orson, Mr. Card, I don't know what to call him, Mr. Card came out and he gave us a little chit-chat about his new book. Then he had a Q&A, which was really, really interesting. He's really funny. We were cracking up. He had my husband laughing out loud. It was just really awesome. Orson Scott Card has been my literary muse since I was 16, and so to be able to hear him speak, he answered questions about Ender's Game and the series and some of his other series, which I've not read yet, and I don't know why. He told us that he has written 75 books, and I didn't know that. So there's quite a bit more of his repertoire that I need to check out. So then there was the signing, and I was told when I called Barnes & Noble, they told me 3 books per person. 1 could be personalized, and then the other 2 would just have his signature in them. So I did. I brought 3 books, and that was hard for me to decide which 3 books to take. I took my very special copy of Ender's Game. My mom gave this to me. This is obviously how I first discovered him. I believe it was the summer before my sophomore year of high school, and I just fell in love with it, and then I went and bought the next one, and then the next 2, and then the rest of the series. So I took this one, and Xenocide, and Children of the Mind. And as he was talking to us, he was like, you know, people's least favorite books are Xenocide and Children of the Mind. And I held up my copies. I was like, no, these are my favorite ones in the whole series. I love them. We were there for about 6 hours because he liked to chat with everybody as they were coming through the line. And so it was a long long process. We got home after midnight, but I did get to meet him and shake his hand, and he gave me some publishing advice, which I immediately forgot. As soon as I walked away, he told me a publishing company that publishes new writers and youth fiction, which is what that's me. And I immediately forgot what he told me, and I feel really sad about it. So, rip. So I did get 4 books signed. I gave these 3 to him, and then Devin had him sign this one for me as well. We're gonna geek out about this before we get to the review, I guess. To Lara, a survival guide for geniuses, with his super loopy signature. And yeah, it's not a first edition book, but it's my first edition. And then in Xenocide, one of the characters has a obsessive compulsive disorder, basically, which is why I relate to her so much. And so on the title page of this one, it says, "To Lara, did you wash your hands?" And when I read that, when we got in the car, I laughed so hard because I compulsively wash my hands. I'm always washing my hands. I washed my hands like 2 times before I started this video. Like, I like to have really, really clean hands, so it just made me laugh, and that just made it even more special. And then for Children of the Mind, he just wrote to Lara with his signature. And the book we're discussing today is A Town Divided by Christmas, which he did also sign. And it says, "To Lara, love is in the genes, Genes." So it was just really, really cool to meet him. He teaches at a university in North Carolina, and I would love to take a class from him. That would be the most amazing experience to sit and learn from him. But for now, I'll be satisfied with just having met him and told him and his wife how much those books have impacted me and changed my life. I guess I should mention, Mr. Card also suggested a book of his. During the Q&A, there were a lot of people asking writing-focused questions, even though not everybody there were aspiring authors. But he did suggest one of his books that he has written that I didn't have, which is called Characters and Viewpoint. So I ordered this immediately, like he was still talking about it, and I had already ordered it from Amazon. And Characters and Viewpoint, those are the main things that I admire about Card's work. And so why not learn from him how to write in the style that I like. So yeah, that's another one that I got as well. So now let's get into the review. I'll give you a brief synopsis of this book. I feel awkward. This is my first book review. I have like a little script written down right here, but I think I'm just gonna talk about it and try not to spoil it. This is going to be a spoiler-free review. I'm very fond of spoiler-free reviews. If you want to talk more in depth about any book that I review with me, you can feel free to DM me on Twitter or Instagram, and we can fangirl it out, or fanboy, or fan non-binary it out, whatever. So in this book, our 2 main characters are Dr. Spunk, who goes by Spunky, and her colleague, whose name is Elyon. Elyon? E-L-Y-O-N. Elyon. And they are tasked by their professor or their program director to go to a small town in North Carolina and study the genetic patterns of the residents there. The town is called Good Shepherd. You know, for a town in the South, you can imagine that it's a very Christian, very strong, faithful community. When they arrive there, Spunky notices that there are 2 churches that are across the street from each other that both claim to be the same kind of church, and she meets a man who explains to her that they split decades ago over a little quarrel over which baby would get to play baby Jesus in the nativity pageant that they held every year. In the intervening 80 years, they've never bothered to reconcile and come back into the same church. That's the general synopsis of the book. did pretty good on that one. It's okay. I would say that if Orson Scott Card and John Green had a literary baby, it would be this book. Obviously, I'm so used to Card's science fiction style, and it was just new and refreshing to read his more just like adult, young adult fiction. He told us it's not young adult fiction, but it's not like smutty adult fiction. You know, when you think of adult fiction, sometimes it's got a lot of smut in it. No smut. The book is only 134 pages long. It's very short. You could read it in 1 to 2 sittings. The font spacing is pretty big too, compared to, I don't know, Children of the Mind. That's mass market paperback. Anyway, you know, just like really, really tight spacing. I mean, it says it's a town divided by Christmas, but it's not a Christmas story. It's just a story about 2 people meeting folks in a small town. I really liked this book. It's really good. I've always admired Orson Scott Card's writing style. He has this ability to switch between third person and first person in the same sentence, and I've loved that. The first time I read Ender's Game, I loved it. I don't know how to explain this one. It's hard to explain how he does it. There was also a lot more dialogue in this book than I was used to in his previous books, and I really liked that. It helped make the characters seem more credible and more realistic. I would recommend this book to everyone. There we go. That's my first book review in all of its awkward glory. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. There will be more book reviews headed your way. I'm always reading something or several books all at the same time. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you like this style of video, I know it's really different from everything else that's been on my channel, but I really like to talk about books and discuss what I'm reading. If you liked it, please consider subscribing to my YouTube channel before you leave. I appreciate your support, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!